What's up, you guys? Steven Vanderhook back again. First of all, thank you so much for the continued support. This has been amazing. In my last video, it just had a ton of views, more than I've had in ever, and it's just exciting to see that people are enjoying the content I'm producing. So thank you so much for your continued support. Just past 150 subs. Might be a small number to most people, but to me it means a lot, so thank you so much. Appreciate the support. We're going to continue today with the October theme of scary money. Now, last time, I wanted to know who knew what this scary, terrifying mask is from. Nobody got the answer except for my brother, of course. I knew Ben. I knew you'd get it right. It's Coheed and Cambria, the creature mask. Ben and I have been listening to Coheed for like 20 years, so I'm not surprised he got it right. But any other Coheed fans, let me know in the comments below. Today's video is all about the scariest effects of getting rich. Last time we talked about the scariest ways to get rich, overutilizing leverage. Today we're going to talk about the scariest effects of getting rich, which is greed. To start this video off, big shout out to Alex Paroff. If y'all haven't seen his videos, they are absolutely fantastic. He's one of my favorite YouTubers and I watch a lot of YouTube. He had a recent video about this same type of subject, really inspiring, really good about charity and greed. So check out his video, there's a link in the description below. Thanks Alex for your inspiration. There's a never-ending debate when it comes to charity and greed when it comes to making a lot of money. Did you get there? Did you make a lot of money by stomping on others, by stepping on the little guy? Or did you do it by providing goods and services that people actually wanted and you provided good value to them and so you made your money and you achieved the American dream? And of course, just like any other never-ending argument, it's because there are people on both sides, right? Both sides are correct. There are some people who got rich by stepping on the little guy. There are some people who got rich being charitable the whole way through, right? You think of the Marriotts, you think of the Huntsmans, you think of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. A lot of people who made a lot of money and they've been charitable with it and they're doing really good causes in philanthropy and they're just changing the world for the better, as well as people like Bernie Madoff, right? So there's always both sides of the fence, which is why this argument will never end. But today I do want to talk about the beauty of charity and kind of the bad side of greed. If you've all watched Robert Kiyosaki, you all know one of his earliest lessons in life was about the love of money, right? Saying, hey, money is the root of all evil. He says, well, that's not true. It's the love of money is the root of all evil. Well, all right, let's just take a look at the actual verse, right? This comes from the New Testament, our boy Timothy. 1 Timothy 6:10. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. Okay, so that sounds bad, right? Especially the end there, pierced themselves through with many sorrows, right? So this is obviously, it's a risky path, right? The road to wealth can have some dangerous paths you could take and really lead to a lot of misery. But that doesn't mean that we have to avoid getting wealthy, right? And avoid achieving and accomplishing good wealth. The biggest question about evil and money is not about whether or not it's there, it's about the attitude towards money, right? Why of your money? The love of money is the root of all evil. So let's focus in on that. If that's true, right, then how can you also be wealthy and avoid this dangerous path, right? Erring from the faith, pierced through with many sorrows, bad stuff, right? So how can we avoid that? And it's all about your mindset. It's all about the why behind your money. If you want to achieve some financial peace and have some financial security for yourself and your family, yeah, those are selfish reasons, but they're not dark selfish reasons, right? Like they are focused on yourself, but once you have that peace of mind and that financial security, then what are you doing? And if you're just continuing to build that forever and ever, well, that's just a different form of greed, right? With a better sounding name and title, but it's the same thing, right? It might have a prettier face, but if you're always just accumulating for yourself and growing and never giving, even if you're not out there buying Lambos and flashing your money towards everyone and you just want the biggest safety net ever and you want $3 million just as a safety net and you live, in a minimalistic lifestyle, that's still greed. It might not be as dark as the egotistical flashing your money and trying to get the vanity of the world, but it is still focused all on yourself. So you have to balance it out with giving. Greed can lead to a lot of misery. Right? We all know that. Look at this guy. Does he look happy to you? No, this guy's awful. He's horrible. He ain't happy. He's greedy. We got Scrooge McDuck up in here. He doesn't look happy. He's awful. But we got to make sure that we're willing to give to charity and not get trapped in greed. When you give to others, it is so liberating, right? There have been many studies done about this, and there's definitely a correlation, no doubt about it, between giving and charity and happiness, as well as with taking from others, taking the advantage of others, and misery that it comes with it. That's a fact of life, right? And some people could say, well, it's in our primal DNA that we need to make sure that we survive and that it's a dog-eat-dog world out there. Okay, well, we're not cavemen anymore, so let's try to adapt and evolve, right? Let's make sure that we can give with others. The question is not just about correlation, of course. The real question is, do happy people give more, or does giving make you happy? Or maybe it's both. Maybe it's a two-way street. Really interesting studies done about this. There's been a lot done. Overall, the conclusion is, yes, both, right? Both are true. Happy people tend to give more, but then it's a beautiful cycle, right? It's a virtuous cycle. The more you give, the happier you are. It makes you realize that life is bigger than just yourself, that your problems don't seem as big when you see the problems of others. Charity and giving can be huge, and it doesn't necessarily matter how much you give, it just matters that you give. And the more you give, it can help you, and it's all about percentage and are you actually sacrificing it, right? But overall, just recognize you got to be consistently giving to charity. Not just once a year on the holidays, but throughout the whole year, right? Make sure you're always helping, looking towards others, giving of yourselves, giving of your money, and giving of your time too, right? We know that some of you may not have any money. Right? And at different stages of life, sometimes you're rich, sometimes you're broke, sometimes you have an abundance, sometimes you have scarcity, but you can always give, and you can certainly always give of your time, even when your time is scarce, right? Even if you are working those 3 jobs and that's why you have no money, you're trying to get by, and you have debt you're trying to conquer, or you have medical bills, or you had some tragedy, you could be the best person in the world, you could still get hit by life. And you could still be struggling financially. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you're lazy. It doesn't mean that you didn't prepare well. It doesn't mean you deserve this. It just means life happens, right? It can happen to anyone. And you can still be giving of your time, even if it's just a little bit, making sure that you're focused on others and helping others along the way. So if giving can make us so happy, then what's the flip side of the coin, right? Why does greed make you so miserable? And it's really because it's just all so inwardly focused. Right? You're just obsessed with yourself and with your own needs, your own desires, and it's just this horrible focus that you can't see how big and beautiful the world is. It's really hard to focus on all the beauty in the world if you're always focused on yourself and your own flaws and your own issues and trying to make sure you conquer your own insecurities, your own fears. It's just a never-ending absorbing cycle. And I know from experience, I've been really self-absorbed in life, and I'm still a little self-absorbed, I ain't gonna lie, right? So I recognize that I'm not perfect, right? But I have experienced some transformation. And personally, I can say through my own experience, studies aside, the less focused I am on my own self and the more focused I am on others and on helping others, the happier I am. And I know, because I've literally lived both sides. We're gonna get a little philosophical here, right? We're gonna tone this down. We're gonna get a little more serious. No more Coed and Cambria. No more magic cards, no more references. We're just going to get serious for a second. Honestly, I'm so much happier the more I can focus on other people. Alright, enough of that sissy stuff. Let's talk about our boy Denzel Washington, right? By the way, if you haven't seen The Equalizer or The Equalizer 2, highly recommend it. Great movie. Shout out to all my Equalizer fans. Denzel Washington, he's noted as saying, and I don't know if he said this, if he's the first person to say it or not, but he says it a lot. He says, "You'll never find a U-Haul behind a hearse." If you've all seen his speech, he does a lot of charity. Speaking of a man who knows a lot about charity, he gives of his time. He's a really good guy, but, not to mention a great actor. But he says that you'll never find a U-Haul behind a hearse, right? Just a different way of saying, a more visual, visceral way of saying, you can't take it with you, right? Possessions only do so much. At the end of the day, things are just things. Sometimes I joke around and I always say, money can't buy love, but money can buy stuff. And I love stuff. No, I didn't come up with it, but I say it around. I'm joking, right? Money does not buy happiness or love. Things are useful. I like things. They're fun. I collect weird stuff, like weird memorabilia, but I don't need it, right? And no one needs stuff. Yes, we have a basic level of living, but I live in America, right? The United States of America. There is an abundance of stuff. I mean, Black Friday is like a bigger holiday than Thanksgiving because that's when you go and buy all your stuff. Right after the day where you're saying you're thankful for everything you have and everything you need, and you spend all the time with family and football. But we all know which day is more satisfying, right? Yes, Black Friday is a lot of fun. You go to Costco, you get yourself a big old TV and you save a couple $100, and you have a grand old time. I get it, it's fun, but it's not very lasting or satisfying. But it's in those family relationships, when we spend time with those we love, when we develop those relationships and nurture them and make sure that we're helping others. Because charity isn't always just focused on the outside person, right? It doesn't always have to be this third-party cause. Charity can also be given of your time, your energy, your effort, your resources to those close to you, to your friends and family, making sure you're there for them and helping them be their best selves, being your best self, making sure that you're spreading positivity and love throughout the world. That wraps it up for today's episode of Scary Money, or Spooky Finance, right? This October theme. Greed, it's a slippery slope, man. It really doesn't lead to happiness. So let's stay strong, let's stay focused, and let's go with today's quote. How could we lose sight of what matters most, trying to love what cannot love us back? All we have is not worth living for if we don't know when to let go. Take care, guys.